And since we're at a conference talking about race, I'm going to do two things. I'm going to try to demonstrate for you what you should be doing with your jury, and I'm going to try to point out the moments of stuff you shouldn't do. I am not going to apologize for playing the prophet, DJ Khaled, to 200 of my colleagues. Because when I usually am watching a white guy or a white woman come up here, get fancy with their PowerPoint, and play the Beatles, I'm expected to know it and vibe with it. So I'm expecting the same from you. This is that shit we're talking about, that little microaggression. You just felt one the other way, okay? So I don't care if you were 61, you better put your hands up in the air. Right? This is the approach we need to take. But let me talk about a 61-year-old. Can you put the lights down? Because I need everyone to see this picture. Be very careful who you make as your friends. This person is a... Are you with me? Okay, lights up. This person is a dangerous liaison, okay? Let me tell you a little story and why I'm here. 2 years ago, 2015, I had a client. And let me start off by saying, I am the one talking around the country about this, but I don't want it to be lost on you that there was a whole team with me, okay? My co-counsel, Jesse Cantor, he's really the one who had the vision, though we were both pushed off the cliff by Jeff. I'll tell you in a minute how. My assistant, I'm telling you, if you are not thanking your assistant and kissing them every day, you're doing something wrong. Charlotte Ponikvar, my paralegal, Emily Zeal, we all marched into that courtroom having talked with our client, Andrew Harris, who knows I'm talking about this, endorses and wants us to share because he wants us to change the way we're doing voir dire. We have to. It is imperative. Jeff came with song to my office and wanted to talk about implicit bias. Now, you see, this thing is like a shackle, because you know me, usually I would jump off the stage. I almost forgot I had it. I got to find a stair, because I have to come down. And he threw out a little idea. Now, I don't know if you saw him do it today, but we saw this dangerous liaison in action with Angela Davis, right? She was sitting up there. He gave her an idea, and she said, I'm going to think about that. And I was saying, sister, don't. Because last time that happened to me, I'm going to tell you guys what happened. Jeff comes talking about implicit bias, says, hey, why don't you try to play this ABC TV show called What Would You Do to a jury to spark a conversation to get at their implicit bias. Me and my goofy ass and my co-counsel said, we have a trial. Let's try it. So we get the clip, and I'm going to go quickly through this, but do you need to talk about race? Absolutely. Do you need to talk about it in voir dire? Yeah. Do you need to talk about it in your home? Yeah. Do you need to talk about it with your kids, your husband, your wife, your employer? Yes. We need to talk about race so we can all get more comfortable. Why do we do it? Sixth Amendment too soon, maybe? Federal, I'm going to go fast. So if you came to sleep, good night. But the rest of us are going to read and move quickly. Why do we do it? The Sixth Amendment. Where is the power? How is it that we got to play this video? Please, if you're a federal practitioner, I saw you raise your hands. And if you're a state practitioner, you have this same rule. I just didn't cite to it for you. Read this. It's in your materials. Don't worry, don't squint, don't take notes, but it's Federal Rule 24. It says you may have an opportunity to question, but it also has some stuff that I'm not going to tell you because you can read. If the judge doesn't let you, there are some things they owe you. Use the rules to get the voir dire out that you want. This is a video we played.
You see this and you wonder, did he lose his keys or is he blatantly stealing that bike? In broad daylight, he hammers and then saws on the chain. When that doesn't work, he pulls out an industrial-sized bolt cutter. And when he's asked, he fesses up.
You lost the law?
No, not exactly.
But he's not a real thief. Justin Kelly is an actor, and our hidden cameras are rolling.
What happened? Nothing. I can't get through the lock. I mean, I know this is weird, but you wouldn't happen to know whose bike this is, would you?
Yeah.
Alright, good.
I'm going to stop it. I can't play it, but I wanted to play that little piece for you. Basically, this is what happens. White boy, Central Park, cuts the lock. Can we help? Did you lose your key? All these really nice assumptions about why he might be stealing the bike. Black guy comes. I mean, the brother, when you see his part, y'all know, some of you are going to be on your phones right now watching it. He's just going to barely get to the bike, and they're going to be like, hey, that's not your bike. What are you doing? You thief. I'm calling the police. They go nuts. Beautiful woman. Oh, what are you doing? Can I help you? Should I help you lift it up over the pole? Crazy, right? So we decided we wanted to play this to show, yes, it's immature, it's not scientific video to spark a conversation. How many of you guys are watching Game of Thrones? Oh, good. Then you'll understand why I have renamed myself Kyana Targaryen, mother of Voir. That's who I want to be when it comes to voir dire, right? I want to come in there, setting those traps to spark discussion. That's the whole point. Now, let's see. This side of the room, I have an inkling that you guys have always wanted to be judges. Yes, you do. Okay, you are the judges. You are us. You are public defenders. Can you please look at them and say, Your Honor, I'd like to try something new. Your Honor, I'd like to try something new. And what does your judge say? Right? We all know what the judges say. But on this side of the room, do I need to call the paramedics? Did anyone die, panic, your house burned down? No. You ask anyway. We asked Judge Jones. Initially, his response was no. And then we wrote about it in pretrial motions. And then he said, I'm not going to play it because he wants nothing to do with this. But we'll let you play it. And then we said, well, we have this little race bias jury instruction we'd like to offer. It is in your materials for all of you who need that. The jury instructions in your materials, the citations to both the videos. So don't you worry. Just open up your ears. All the stuff you need to reference later, you have. And he said, sure, but I'm not going to even let you give the full jury instruction about bias. Miss Gibbons, I'm going to let you say half of it. I was like, what? He said, no, I changed my mind. I'm going to say half of it from the bench, and then the part where you want to talk about race and implicit bias and unconscious ideas, you say that part during your voir dire. I said, fine. This is my job anyway, right? So let me do the hard work, Your Honor, okay? So we play this video. We have this jury instruction. Here's the nuts and bolts I want you to know about the video. If you play the video and your judge gives you permission, using the jury instructions that are posted in your materials, this is some of the things I want you to keep in mind. First, ask questions about unconscious bias, their knowledge and definition, before you play the video. Show the video. Here's the very difficult question that you need to ask next that they have brought me here to tell you. With all my scientific research, the question is, what did you think of the video? Can you remember that? What did you think of the video? That's all you have to say. One of the mistakes we make in voir dire is we are not listening. We want to talk and talk and talk, right? We forget how to ask simple questions. What did you think of the video? I'm going to show you the transcript because now I've been talking about this a lot. If I don't show the transcript, somehow people think I'm lying, I made it up, so I'm going to show it to you in real time. That's all I asked. Whoosh! Fire. They had a lot to say. After the video, simply say, juror number one, blah, blah, blah. What was your response to the video? Who did you find yourself relating to if you need something more or different? Let it go from there. It's a discussion, okay? The discussion is between the jurors. I think we get confused. We are watching, deeply listening, and receiving information. We are not in on the conversation. It is not about us, okay? It's discussion time. This is the image I want you to have in your mind. Your ears are open and perked up to high heaven. This is jury deselection. It's not time to talk, not time for you to connect with the judge. It's not time for you to say, well, what if there was this black guy who had this, let's say a white girlfriend who, let's say a cute, stop it. Stop mirroring your exact facts. We are more creative than that. Okay, we are smarter than that. We can get to these ideas without putting our entire case before the jury. And that's why judges don't give you time. What's one of the primary feedback I get? Well, my judge doesn't give me enough time. My judge, you know why? Because you're not good at it. That song is playing. Say something, I'm giving up on you. You know what's terrible? I'm so not ashamed. I can't sing, and I'm going to sing to you all afternoon, okay? I don't care, because I need you to remember that, okay? Voir dire is not this. You're not a prosecutor. Give that up. We're not talking about reasonable doubt, okay? What are you afraid of? We know. They won't talk. It'll be silent. They won't answer my questions honestly. If they do answer my questions, I won't be able to get rid of them effectively. We have got to get over ourselves and over our fears. Andrew Harris is a real live person who I care about. I cared about whether he went home to his family or not. It's not about me and my fears. It's about getting the best result for your client. That requires you to be uncomfortable. I'm not afraid of people exposing their dark side. It doesn't frighten me. Hiding it does. Now is the time, and when I say now, I mean voir dire. We do not spend enough time prepping and thinking about voir dire, right? This is sort of the last thing we do while we are making notebooks and doing cross-examinations and doing openings and closings. You should have spent way more of that time thinking about strategic questions to get to the unconscious bias of your veneer. Who watches the show Chopped? Anybody? Food Network? It's a secret ingredients, right? It's a basket of things that they don't know until the time starts. They lift up the basket and it'll be like monkey brains, collard greens, cotton candy, and jalapeno jelly. And they'll start the timer and say, go, make something delicious that'll win you $10,000. That's what we are. We are Chopped. We are Chopped chefs. You think, oh, I'm not good at this voir dire. You are. But what we want is control. You want control. You want to know the ingredients. You want to know who's in the room. The only way to know who's in the room is to ask these questions to get at the bias. But you know what you are is a chef. You have skills. You can cook lots of things. It don't matter what's in that secret basket, that veneer. You can make something powerful of it in a discussion. Create discussion. You have this slide. I encourage you to take this and slip it in your trial notebook. For all of you who say, I don't have time, it all goes too quickly, this slide's for you. It's my gift to you, okay? If all hell breaks loose and you're like, God damn it, I didn't get to play the video and I tried and I had my power pose and it didn't work, revert to this, okay? Combo platter, what's that? Juror number 8, what do you think about what juror number 30 said? Is that tough? That's not tough. This is how you spark conversation. And I'm a little bit ridiculous, as you can imagine. I think because I raised boys, my husband and I, we're actually like 2 8th grade boys married to each other, okay? It's goofy town in my house. So I need things to remember how to voir dire. So I call it combo platter or spectrum. Juror number 4, consider himself gullible. Juror number 60 is a sleuth for bullshit. Raise your hand if you relate more to 4 or 60. These are all things you can fall back on. These are skills and tools that you can use to spark the discussions to understand who your who your jury is, so that you can get them the fuck out of there, okay? You can deselect. You have to understand you are not putting them in. You're taking them out. You're taking as many out as you can form a reasonable idea about. It requires us to listen deeply. It's the Hamilton rule. Who loves Hamilton? I do. What is the Hamilton Aaron Burr song? Don't let them know what you're against or for. You want to get ahead. Right? This is the Hamilton rule applies to voir dire. It is not about whether they endorse your ideas. You need to know what their mind thinks of. And the only way you can do that is to listen and ask these types of questions. Deep listening, yes. Active listening, very similar. There's a quote here, if you can read along quickly. I like it because it means open yourself up and be receptive. I don't think in this day and age we are willing as attorneys and all the school and we're professional to get up in front of a jury and be strategically vulnerable. Can you do it? I don't think so, because some of you who I teach in trial skills and stuff, you cannot tolerate something new. The anxiety amongst us is very high, and you have got to get that under control on behalf of your client. It's not only a barrier for you, it's a barrier for your client. Okay? So we have to be able to deep listen. What does that mean? Open yourself up. Is this the sexiest way you've ever seen me? No. Okay? My baby, who I'll tell you is 1 year old today, I am here with you because of how important this is. I'm letting Solomon's house all out and open my chin. Okay? I'm not going to die because I'm vulnerable or I looked ridiculous. But you will remember that when you step up in front of your next veneer. That's what you have to do on behalf of your clients. It's that important. A strategic vulnerability. You can read about the functional group. I'm going to go very quickly because usually, as you could tell, Jeff, Song, and I, we usually circle around the country not together. So we end up covering a bunch of each other's stuff. So I will skip through a lot of this, but jury selection ultimately is deselection, right? You don't have time to cure it. You have time to detect and deselect, okay? Say it with me. Detect and deselect. You are not a magician. You are not a physician. You cannot cure these people of their prejudice. Give it up. Let me hear it. Thank you so much. Deselect. Okay? That's all you can do. That's the best you can do. I want to tell you more about what happened with the questions, okay? First, I allowed the jury. For those of you who can't see, I apologize. It's in your slides. First, you allow the jury to talk about implicit bias. Don't treat jurors like they're dumb. They're not. And you're going to waste time if you don't give them some respect, okay? This is stuff that they're also being trained on. So figure out what the working definition is in the room. It's usually pretty spot on. The definition they gave is accurate. This wasn't something I had to give them, and it empowers the jury. Common responses to the video, they were disgusted. The denial. It had nothing to do with race. You can have the whole transcript is uploaded on the materials. You can read all of this. I've given you some of the page numbers in the slides. Denial, this video had nothing to do with race. I was offended that you even showed it. Okay, this is my favorite one though. It just wasn't scientific. Yeah, because charging decisions are real scientific. Discretionary arrests out on the streets are real scientific. But then when I dared to play the video, this is what two different jurors came out their minds. I guess I would say that in some respects it seemed like the study wasn't really a random scientific study. Well, you're right. It wasn't, but it got your asses talking, which is the whole point. What did juror number 3 say? Yeah, I mean, it was a popular television show used to prove a point, a potentially scientific point about implicit bias and behavior in individuals. I don't think that either the anchor or whatever you call that guy, gosh, the host got to be slandered too? You know, where was that park? Oh, now it's the park's problem, right? It was a fallible Central Park. Thank you. I understand what it was doing to illustrate, implied bias, but at the same time, I don't think it was the right approach. Now, you know why I am Kyana Targaryen? Because you know what I said to that juror? Thank you, juror number 22. That's it. You move on. The thing that Martine was trying to tell you was, this is what it looks like. Them talking, me asking a number, them talking again. They were uncomfortable seeing it. But obviously I don't think we could see that further along in the trial, so I was uncomfortable seeing it here at this stage. Really? Really? Person of color was glad I addressed it. I'm in Seattle, small population of people of color, and then even smaller who can make it to a federal jury, okay? This person was like, you done threw me a lifesaver. Let's talk about it. I'm so glad that you brought it up. There are allies in there. This is what they said. I'd have to show you the transcript. It's in there. It's implied, 12 Ways to Sunday. This is what they meant. Just come out your mouth and say it. They didn't, so I did. You are accusing me of playing the race card. Am I correct? Of course I was. And that's what they were endorsing. Yes, you were. We are not afraid of this. Do not be afraid of this. I will play the race card because race card is in play. I'm not going to give excuses about that. Race is in play. What the race card really means is when someone inserts race inappropriately. After everything we've heard today, there is no such thing as me inappropriately introducing race in Mr. Harris's trial or many of my others. Because you know what? Mr. Harris was an African-American young guy, arrested in a hotel room with 2 white girls, 1 white guy. But I say too much. It wasn't even in the hotel room. They were arrested after walking outside to their cars. Each of them went to 4 people, 3 cars. My African-American client goes to his car. 1 white girl and 1 white boy go to another car, and another white girl goes to a 3rd car. Now, did you see what I did for you? I illustrated for you by moving my body the 3 different cars. I'm trying to show you and teach you at the same time, and I'm not trying to be patronizing, but I want to flag this for people because this is how we tell good story. Then, the only person who gets arrested is not this person. And it's not the white girl and the white boy. You know what's interesting about this car? The drug dog alerted. They searched the car, and the drugs were found in this car. Still no arrest. But my client, young African-American man, no drug dog alerts to his car, and he's arrested. Arrested to be accountable for all the drugs found in the cars, all the drugs found in the hotel room, and the guns, looking at consecutive 924Cs. I can't let me being uncomfortable to be a reason that this young man does 15 some odd years. Okay? The race card was appropriate played, and I will not apologize, and neither should you. Sorry, because of the font, it says, this is a juror who says, we know what we're dealing with. The interesting thing about this case is I had, I think, 9 for-cause challenges. A lot of them had to do with this juror number 35 and 33. And the judge, when I went to the sidebar and the prosecutor and I are about to strike him, I say, Your Honor, he says, counsel, before we get started, let's just talk about juror number 35, he has to go. I didn't even have to make arguments. It wasn't anything sophisticated. Because we had such a rich discussion sparked by a trivial TV show, even the judge was giving me people he wanted me to remove before we even started discussing things. So that was 2 gone off the top. Neither me nor the prosecutor really had to make any argument. I got scared. I don't want you to think that what I'm saying means that it's easy. I was scared out of my mind. You know why? Because I follow this guy around, and he gives me big ideas that make me feel like something ridiculous like Mother of Voir, okay? And then I try it. But then I got in the room, and these people, what's hard about the transcript, because I'm not talking except for to say yes, thank you, it was silent, tense. You could hear a pin drop after someone said something disgusting, and I was saying, thank you. Does anybody else want to comment on what juror number 35 said? And then another juror would go, and another juror would go. My boss said, it was like watching you in front of a firing squad, but at least in front of a firing squad, you die. Now, my tip to all the managers, that a pep talk does not make. Okay? But I didn't die, okay? No one's dying. I was uncomfortable. There's these zones. Figure out what yours is. I want you not in your comfort zone, but not in your panic pee your pants zone either. I want you in that growth zone. Get a little uncomfortable. Try something new. I don't have time to go through all of this, but that anchoring idea that Song talked about, we do this to ourselves too. Stop going into trial like this is going to be a big fuck up shit show and your client's going to be found guilty. If nothing else, pull out this slide and everything outside of this brain, say it to yourself. It sounds corny, fine. But I'm striking my power pose before I go in there and do something hard. I'm opening myself up to be receptive. I'm channeling my power. Here's the fucking great thing about being 40. I wish someone had told me earlier. I am the givers of no fucks now. Okay? And even better, great. Better and better and better. As defense attorneys, we do not have time to wallow in our own self-loathing bullshit. We have real people who need our advocacy. Step into your power and slay these juries. But I came back. Juror number 35, you're not going to end me. I'm coming back. What's funny about the transcript, we don't have time to really stand on it, is that I start talking about the police, right? Let me go back to something I know. So, does anybody, I literally am asking the question, does anybody have a police officer in their family? After all of that work, that's where I went? Yes, because I was scared. But you can go back. The great thing about being in front of a juror and being the chef with the mystery ingredients, you can recover. You can be vulnerable. I told the jury, I got scared, but I need to go back to this. And we returned to the race talk. And the jurors got mad at me. So what? They kept talking. When you read this, what is this? The veneer person, number 20, this person up top, then number 24 is highlighted. Then the only thing I'm saying is literally these 3 lines. I haven't cut it off. That's all I said. Thank you. I appreciate you saying so. Getting your honest response is exactly what we need. Other jurors. And they start talking. Okay? We've got to persevere in this work. I'm running out of time. But I came here to show you one last thing. Because in the middle of taking risks and someone who will remain innocent, pushing you off a cliff, this is what happened. My district and my judge said, in the decades I have been on the bench, I've never seen such a rich discussion about race. I am disturbed, but here's the greatest part. Several jurors contacted the judge and said, we need to talk to you. Now, in the middle of the venom, after the trial, they contacted the judge and they said, you're the one who cut off that race discussion too soon. It's not fair. She needed longer. What? I'm a woman of very low expectations. I may not win all my trials, but I'm going to win in one here. Okay? And the judge was shamed, confused, because my team took the risk. And then what did they do? They formed a committee, right? That's what judges do. But here, I'm not mad at it. That committee took out $50,000 to make this video as a tool. This is our unconscious bias video that educates in all criminal cases, all civil cases, before they even come up to meet me. We know who this guy is. I'm just going to show you a piece of it.
As you have already heard, it is the court's goal in every jury trial to find jurors who will decide the case before them without prejudice or bias, because under our Constitution, everyone deserves a fair trial. So today I'd like to talk to you about what exactly bias is and why we should all keep improper biases out of the courtroom. Biases are prejudices in favor or against a thing, person, or group compared with another. Basically, bias equals prejudging in a positive way or a negative way. It's been proven that most biases happen at an unconscious level. In fact, researchers have found that unconscious bias is a part of how we all think and process information.
All right.
It's important as jurors to be aware that unconscious bias exists.
My time's up.
Once you understand what it is, we'll explore what you can.
I want you to look at that face, because this is the answer to what Song Richardson said to you in the morning. Say yes. This is a Reagan-appointed federal judge who is now featured on our website doing an unconscious bias PSA because we dared to be uncomfortable. Go out there and raise hell on behalf of the human beings we have the privilege to represent. Thank you.